Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Erik Voss, and THRAWN has arrived in live action, exiled on Purrgil with a legion of scruffy night troopers and a trio of witches. And while Lars Mikkelsen is bringing back that ASMR purr from voicing the character in Rebels,
dark magic.
What's most interesting about him is the way time has taken its toll on this Imperial Grand Admiral, known in some corners of the internet as a chiseled chiss in a tank top. Now he is a uniformed, frayed, and wrinkled in some spots, and a new interest in fate and destiny that sounds curious, coming from an empirical war strategist who didn't really seem too interested in superstition, who was only ever as interested in that kind of thing as his enemies were, as someone who always studied his enemies' histories and arts and beliefs. And upon doing some digging into THRAWN's past, I realized there's actually a fascinating reason he's obsessed with fate and now surrounding himself with 3 witches named after the fates of Greek mythology. It's because THRAWN is terrified of how he's going to die, and he is barreling toward that nightmarish end anyway, whether he's aware of it or not. So in Ahsoka episode 6, THRAWN's Star Destroyer, the Chimera, arrives on Purrgil and saddles up on that witch tower reverse cowgirl. The Chimera, THRAWN, and his stormtroopers are all in rough shape, missing pieces, augmented with spare parts and red Night Sister straps, but still, our man is brimming with cultish pride. THRAWN has forged an unholy alliance with 3 witches, the Great Mothers named Clotho, Lachesis, and Actropod, named directly after the 3 fates of Greek mythology, who spin, measure, and cut the thread of fate for each life. With episode 2 titled Toil and Trouble, this series also wants us to think about the 3 witches or weird sisters from Shakespeare's Macbeth, who similarly counsel Macbeth with prophetic visions of the future that Macbeth followed to both his fortune and to his folly. Back in episode 2, Morgan Elsbeth told Balin, Skull, and Shinhati this:
"The threads of fate do not lie."
And that thread terminology returns with the Great Mothers in episode 6 when they informed THRAWN about Sabine joining Morgan, Balin, and Shin.
You never spoke of this.
We did not see it. It is a loose thread.
Well, speak to me of this loose thread.
Loose thread. A thread that they couldn't measure or cut because they didn't see it coming. It was not part of their tapestry. And so throughout this episode, THRAWN regards Sabine with a bit of uncertainty and trepidation. This thread language actually comes back at the end of the episode.
The thread of fate has spoken to us.
They report a new Jedi approaches, and THRAWN tells Morgan that death and resurrection are common deceptions played out by both Night Sisters and Jedi, and turns back to these witches.
Great Mothers, I shall once again require the aid of your dark magic.
The thread of destiny demands it, Grand Admiral.
Yes, they say the thread of destiny demands it. They want to supply their dark magic. They think they have to. I had mentioned the theory that the coffins they're transporting might contain the corpses of Night Brothers and Night Sisters that they plan to reanimate, and that these scruffy stormtroopers might be the Night Troopers, zombies in their own right, their bodies held together with these red straps. THRAWN mentioned that their numbers are dwindling, and he denies Morgan's request for more backup to Balin and Shin, limiting to just 2 units of these Night Troopers, we think. So where does THRAWN's fear and obsession with fate come from? Well, if you watched our Rebel recap series, if you haven't already, definitely do so. It'll make you love Ahsoka even more. But if you watched Rebels, you know that season 3 ends with the mysterious Force-sensitive being of Bendu on the planet Atollon intervening in THRAWN's assault on the Rebel base. Bendu goes full Mufasa on them, the Rebels escape, but THRAWN blasts them out of the clouds, and it ends with this fascinating exchange between Bendu and THRAWN.
What manner of creature are you?
One beyond your power to destroy.
It would not seem so.
One beyond your power to destroy. So we aren't really seeing Bendu's death here. We're really just seeing his kind of transference or his teleportation back into the cosmos. Bendu cannot be killed through conventional means. He goes on.
You cannot see, but I can.
What do you see?
I see your defeat, like many arms surrounding you in a cold embrace.
Of course, this would foreshadow THRAWN's eventual defeat in the cold embrace of the many arms of the Purrgil, or so we think. Habits get a bad rap, but not all habits are created equal. Brushing your teeth, a good habit. Doom scrolling, bad habit. But if you want to turn your bad habits into good ones, use Fume. Fume is an innovative, award-winning device with no electronics, no vapor, no harmful chemicals. Fume is completely natural. It uses all natural ingredients to give you a burst of delicious flavored air. I recently just opened a pack of the cores. They smell really nice, very refreshing. Fume makes it possible to have a habit you're free to enjoy and makes replacing your bad habit easy. Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial and is designed with these movable parts and magnets. It's super fidgety, which is helpful for de-stressing while you break your old habit. Using Fume is like having a breath of fresh minty air or fresh peppery air. It's a nice moment just for you, and taking a moment for yourself is a good habit, trust me. Over 100,000 people have used Fume to successfully break out of bad habits, and now you can too. Switching to Fume is easy. Just head head to tryfume.com and use code NEWROCKSTARS to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's TRYFUM and use code NEWROCKSTARS to save an additional 10% off your order today. We all assumed that Bendu was foreseeing the series finale with the Purrgil, but now that Thrawn has returned alive in Ahsoka, that reframes this big moment with Bendu. Yes, Bendu said defeat, not death, and Thrawn's victory being snatched away to Purrgil with hyperspace whales was objectively a defeat or a setback for him, but we don't know exactly what happened when Thrawn and Ezra entered that Purrgil hyperspace, because the windows of the Chimera Bridge were broken. Could the people there breathe with their atmosphere exposed to Purrgil hyperspace? Did Filoni think about that? Like, it kind of seems like they would have to scramble off the bridge real fast, maybe Ezra doing some like force floating, making their way to an airlocked part of the Chimera and just holding tight. Ezra, I guess, could have used his time to run around the Chimera, hiding from Thrawn and his forces, and then when the Purrgil left hyperspace, would they be within the atmosphere of Purrgil? Probably not. They'd be like outside of it in open exposed space. So then I guess the Purrgil would like fling the Chimera down to the Purrgian surface, and then I guess Ezra could have snuck out of that wreckage and then eventually found his way to the Noti, and then Thrawn just spent 9 years trying to find him.
Where's Ezra?
Yeah, it's all a little unclear, but based on where Thrawn is now, I just think he would consider his current status as undefeated, or at least not yet defeated. He was exiled, but his ego seems to be unscathed. If anything, he was transported to a place where he now has witches loyal to him. But what's going on beneath the surface? Because like our beloved heroes in every Final Destination film that I know we've all seen all of, Thrawn may feel like he cheated death, and that specter is still hanging over him. That could be why he's so obsessed with these destiny reports from the Great Mothers. So if the many arms and the cold embrace that Bendu referred to weren't the Purrgil, I mean, the Purrgil are whales, they're probably warm-blooded, right? What was Bendu referring to in that moment? The question must keep Thrawn awake every night, and now that question has been wholly redefined. That prophecy could refer to something we have not seen yet. Now, we should acknowledge that Thrawn probably isn't going to die in this Ahsoka series, at least I hope not, because beyond this, Dave Filoni has been confirmed to direct a feature film for Lucasfilm at some point in the future that is meant to be the culmination of all these New Republic pre-sequel trilogy era stories. The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and I think we can assume that Thrawn will be the villain of that film, which would mean that Thrawn could return as a villain or a background figure in future seasons of these shows that come out before that film does. But this loose thread with Bendu must have Thrawn pretty nervous about working with an army of the dead stormtroopers that look a lot like night troopers. Could the many hands and the cold embrace come from Night Sister sorcery backfiring on Thrawn, similar to how the Night Sisters made a deal with the Separatists during the Clone Wars era that ended with Old Daka and Mother Talzin resurrecting an army of the dead against Dooku and Grievous? Could Thrawn suffer a similar fate? You know our man's worried about that. Please support our channel by grabbing one of these Fulcrum shirts from nerdriot.shop, and please subscribe to all 3 channels, including The Break Room, which has our WikiLeaks Ahsoka after show. Follow me on all social platforms at EA Voss, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.